Let's do this thing, man.
Well, first, we've got to kick it.
Welcome to Hardheaded. My name is Matt Amos. Along with me, as always, Troy, Three-Shot Trussell, and Chet Sears.
When you do the intro, you have to say it like Troy, hard-headed.
Hard-headed. Was that pretty close?
Is that like your wrestling voice? If you were a professional wrestler, is that how you would talk?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
It's kind of like the Macho Man.
I was going to say snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
So today we have Chet with what's on his mind. Our top three category for today is going to be our top three seasonings. I tried to get that narrowed down to specific type of seasonings, whether it's we're going to barbecue, whatnot. But now it's nope. We're just going to do
generic
in general our top
just
three
in general.
seasonings.
We may narrow it down later, but if we were, I think we'd argue on whether or not what a smoking seasoning was versus a seafood seasoning, because Matt doesn't know the difference between a boil and smoke.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna finish out. We might revisit that later, and then Troy's gonna bring us a good word. So to kick it off, move it over to Chet. What's on your mind?
All right, we're gonna have a little fun with this discussion today. It hit me through some discussion that Matt and I were having about one of his jobs pre-military, that all three of us share a same job. We've all had a job as a delivery driver.
Those were the days.
Yeah. Did you know that Matt delivered stuff?
I did not.
Did you know that I delivered stuff?
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what.
Yours was medical.
Home medical equipment.
That's right, because you and Broughton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He managed the company fleet.
Right.
Yeah, I can imagine that guy managing a fleet.
Yeah. It was one van.
So what did you deliver?
Furniture.
Well, I delivered the best.
Beer.
For
all the vehicles that we drove. So I drove a Ford Econoline van. I'm sure you drove like a box truck.
Yeah, like one of those kick top or top kick GMC whatever.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
I drove a carriage powered by Clydesdales.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I drove a 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had my CDL and everything. It was awesome.
I had a CDL, not for my delivery job.
Tell you what, you look like a truck driver in that shirt.
If you're watching on YouTube, yes, the shirt is a little small, and I'm showing my weight.
You had one too many microwave burritos from the Flying J when you're driving your 18-wheeler.
He's been off that. He's been off that. What is that sushi? That
sushi.
That
gas
station sushi.
Sushi's loose. Oh wow!
So how many years did you drive delivery truck?
8 months.
8 months.
Quite the career, sir.
No, so when I was driving, I loved that job. It was great. But I had a friend whose dad ran a Goodyear tire store, and they sold outdoor truck tires. And he said, my dad's looking for salesmen, and you could probably make
indoor truck tires.
What'd I say?
You said outdoor truck tires. What? So that means there's indoor truck truck tires.
That's not the right word I meant to say.
Oh. Overland.
Big.
Yeah. Semis.
Semis. Yeah. I was an outdoor salesman. Is what I meant to say.
Okay.
But he was looking for outdoor salesmen.
Yeah.
And he, you could probably make $15,000-$20,000 more dollars if you come work for us. And
like I'm doing it.
I'm out. So I did that, and I did that for another 2.5 years, and then I went back into the marketing agency world after that. But
so you had like a route that you would drive, or was it random places that you had to go? Because like Matt delivered furniture, so like you're going to a different place every delivery. Yep. I deliver home medical equipment. Basically, I had one route that I would two routes that were the same, but then everything else I did was to an address. And
I worked my way up and got a country route, because those were the best routes to have, because you go in, you check your pallet full of beer, check everything off, make sure you have everything you need. They load it up on the trailer for you. You go out, probably drive an hour and a half to your first stop, which was awesome. Just a nice morning drive.
Yeah.
And I had a fantastic helper with me. I forget what their title was or whatever, but he was like my right-hand man. And so we'd just hang out and go drive, and then the next stop would be 20 minutes away. So there was less stops and more time on the road, but I enjoyed that. So, yeah, but it was a country route.
Now, did you get paid by how much beer you delivered?
Yeah, you got commission on the beer that you sold. So if you could upsell the store owner, then yeah, you made more money. And you made more money on weekends. And so in my country route, I don't know if I've ever told this before, but on the show, but my country route, the biggest weekend was Mother's Day weekend.
Of selling beer.
Because they just love their mamas out there and they love to party. And so that was like more than 4.
But you were only there for 8 months, so you weren't there for every weekend of the year.
But they told me, I mean, that was the thing in the business. Like you're gonna sell more beer this weekend out on the outlying routes than you will in the city, just because that's when they party.
Yeah,
like they celebrate mom
by drinking beer
like it's nobody's business.
And it was only beer. It wasn't booze or anything else.
Just beer and wine coolers and all that stuff. Anheuser-Busch
malt
products.
Malt beverages.
Yeah. So Mother's Day cashed in on that weekend.
Yeah.
So you just carried extra?
Was it a refrigerated truck?
No.
Okay. So you delivered hot beer?
No, the warehouse is refrigerated.
Okay.
They load it up and you deliver it.
Yeah, I got you.
And it stays,
it's cool. It's not hot.
But you run it right into a freeze. I'm in and out of freezers all day. So
what towns were you going to?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember the names.
North or south or everywhere?
East. I was going halfway to Ruston.
Oh, okay.
So not far. Yeah, because Monroe's.
Mendon, you hit Mendon and...
Yeah. Arcadia. Some of
Haynesville?
Yeah.
Okay,
cool. That area, yeah.
But you had extra on the truck to sell?
You got to know your store owners pretty well. And if you had, if we had a special product that week or whatever, you'd have some extra of those. But
how many of those did not make it and you just said, they bought them?
Yeah, that didn't happen. Because if they found out.
I mean, I know about your days.
Yeah, but I was honest.
Yeah, man.
Honest with that. I didn't want to lose my job.
Right.
But the worst thing that
for the long 8 months that you were there.
Right. The worst thing they did back there, though, is they just dock it would come out of your paycheck. You didn't come back. And even if it got stolen, and you couldn't prove they got stolen, it came out of your paycheck.
Wow.
So you protected that beer. I mean, that was your money. So.
What, you delivered furniture?
Yep.
Did you have to set it up?
Yep.
Oh, wow. So you built things?
Oh, yeah. Carried, so I actually got that job and they wanted me to be a salesperson. And I don't know who in their right mind would think that I'm a good salesperson for anything. But I sat down and this company, they have a very good corporate structure.
Yeah.
And lots of room for advancement. I mean, I know guys that are still selling for them, now they're store managers, regional managers, and, they've moved up in the company. And so in that store typically promoted from within. And so the growth opportunities there were great. But my first day of selling furniture, I was like, this isn't what I want to do. And, but I put up with it, and it was kind of, you kind of find out how cutthroat it is. And I can only imagine how car sales would be worse, with other salesmen and stuff like that, and then we'd have to unload the trucks in the morning, when the new furniture from the factory came in, and we'd unload that. And we had, I'll never forget this conversation in my life. I'm going back to unload this truck, and I'm telling one of the guys, I'm like, hey man, let's go. He's like, oh no, that's beneath me. I don't do that. And I said, what?
Did you stomp him?
And it wasn't my place to stomp him. I mean, I was the new guy, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, Okay.
But I've known people that have behaved that way.
Oh, no,
but he said it. Like,
he came out
that
and
is
said
beneath
it.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm going to have to use that at some point in time in my life just to see if it gets a rise out of somebody.
That's probably coming out tomorrow at work. I'm sure. in this
next time my
office.
wife asks me for help in the kitchen or something, that's beneath me. Can you help cook that? That is beneath me.
That's beneath me. And what was funny about that and what was kind of disheartening at the time was the store manager loved that.
Yeah. That would be the words on my tombstone right after that. He's beneath this.
And
That's good.
Anyway, the store manager, he liked it?
Yeah, he was like all over that. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to last long here.
Right.
And so I think I may have done that for a couple of months and just kind of put up with it. And, the commissions were decent, but then I had to deal with customers that, would come in and they'd be picky about the grain of wood, and they'd be like, oh, I don't like that.
It's not like what I saw in the store.
Like, no, this is exactly because
you signed right here.
No. What you buy is what's on the showroom floor.
Oh, okay.
So it's not something like, oh, I want that, and then we get it. No, this is what you're getting. And, but sitting with them trying to sell it and they're like, oh, well, I don't like that grain right there. I don't like the way that, it's like the tree just does that. I don't,
right.
We don't have any control over that. And so, and I don't like really dealing with people too much anyway. So that was definitely not the job for me.
But you did it for how long?
A couple months. And then
not as long as I was.
No.
But what I did was all of a sudden a delivery job. So that's when I was a salesperson.
Okay.
They needed delivery drivers. And so I went to the manager. I was like, look, this
I need less people in my life.
This situation is not going to work. I was like, but I enjoy most of the people here.
Except for that one guy.
And, what's funny is I still know him and he actually is a really good dude.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he turned out to be a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
And so I went and I was like, hey, put me on a delivery truck. And so I get on this delivery truck and find out that the lead driver is probably about as annoying as that guy, but I ended up having to ride with him for at least one day before I got my own truck.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I don't know how many stories I heard about just crazy, just stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And I started delivering and really enjoyed it. Cause again, you get in the truck in the morning, you got your delivery list, and we load up the furniture and we put it on the truck and go and do our deliveries. And you got that time on the road in the morning before you have to meet people. I mean,
yeah,
you know how I am.
Yep.
He
needs time before he talks to anybody.
Oh, I like it. I missed that time.
Yeah.
And so I, hopped in the truck and I had another delivery guy with me, that would sit in the right seat. We'd trade off driving, whatever. If, he was hungover or I was hungover because I was,
that's what you're doing.
I was drinking back then.
Troy was supplying, you were
drinking.
And, so we'd trade off and get to our first whatever and deliver the furniture. And then it kind of morphed to where now all of a sudden they came down and said, hey, you guys are going to start making a commission on the furniture you deliver. And
nice.
So I'd get like 1.5% for bedroom furniture or
because you're setting it up and doing the whole.
Yep, and then I get 1% for,
living room
tables, chairs, whatever. I didn't do any living room stuff, just basically kitchen, bookshelves, blah, 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 whatever, bedroom sets.
Yeah. And
bedroom sets being the majority of what we would deliver because any of that other stuff, most people can just pick up with their truck and take to their house. And I've been in so many bedrooms. It's insane. But anyway, so I just keep going back to thinking about those times. Some of the crazy things you see when somebody says, hey, go ahead and take down, if you wouldn't mind, I'll pay you an extra, whatever, I'll tip you whatever, so you can take this down and move this wherever. And, we do that and then they'd forget about like the 9,000 things that are under their bed or whatever. And so it's weird what you'll find.
Yeah.
And, so when they changed it to a commission setup, I was like, oh, I'm going to capitalize on this. Like before, I would load my truck up and we'd be out for the day. You know, we'd make it.
Yeah. Take your time.
Well, not necessarily take our time. We get that delivery done, we're on to the next one. Because if we could end early,
we're done for the day.
We were out. But now there's an option to make more money. And so, I mean, I would unload that truck, go back, load up, and take off again. And I was killing it. Like I was making a ton of money. Like there's really no reason that I should have really ever left that job. Because I was making so much money. I was in really good shape. But my lifestyle at the time, I have zero money to show for working there. None. I spent it all. And just before I learned financial responsibility.
Yeah.
But insanely good, fun job to have.
Yeah.
And the guys that I got to work with, once a couple of those people quit, it was such a good workplace. And I really enjoyed that job.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little fraternity of guys at Budweiser that would come over to my house after work every day. And so, yeah, I didn't save any of that money either.
Wow.
So
I delivered home medical equipment, which my routes were delivering diapers to nursing homes, like the same nursing homes over and over again. Lots of them. And then we stocked hospitals with like crutches and wheelchairs and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, it was like driving around to little widow ladies and delivering their, you know, walker or wheelchair or getting it back. There was a lot of rentals during the time. Insurance wouldn't buy you something. They would rent you something. So we'd have to go get it, pick it up or whatever. Sometimes when people still needed it, which was tough. But, you know, insurance wasn't covered anymore. Hospital beds, those were a nightmare because I felt like I was delivering furniture then because you have to bring it in there and set it up and go through all that crazy stuff. But then it was pretty interesting, the different cases that you would get. And I found, I don't know if it's still true today, but the lower income house that you went into, the bigger TV that was there. Like the biggest TVs I ever saw in my life all the way up until college were in these low income houses. I couldn't believe it. Like massive TVs back when TVs weren't, you know, they were the tube type stuff. And then they got to that projection screen, whatever. Couldn't believe it.
What do you think the cause of that was?
There's a lot of people sitting around watching TV when I was there.
Were there rent-a-centers back then?
I don't know. But, and some very sad situations. Like I walked into some scenario. You probably saw this too, where you just wanted to deal with somebody in a violent manner. One of them was there was a lady that she was getting she had a manual hospital bed. Like, so if you wanted to raise it up, you had to crank a thing, which you can't do if you're in the bed. And she got upgraded to a powered one, which the only thing worse than delivering a powered hospital bed is delivering a
piano
lift chair.
Oh,
those things with the 3 motors in them, and you can't. And I was just one dude. You know, the beds could come apart into pieces where you can handle them. It's just a lot of moving, but the lift chair with all the motors in it, and it doesn't break down. God, that was a nightmare. But anyway, like her room, she had adult sons living with her still. And 30 to 40 years old at least. And they were all there. I was there a couple times in the daytime, but they had put a fish cooker in her bedroom because she was bedridden in her bedroom next to there, and then cut a hole in the roof so she can cook from her bed for them. And they did the whole roof, like they cut a hole in the roof.
Oh my gosh.
And then in the ceiling of the bedroom, they cut a hole in that, and then they had a piece of plywood over the hole, and she had a broom, and she would move the plywood over and cook, and then she'd cover it back up when it was raining, so no rain would come through the hole and get on her. And I'm telling you, man, this kind of stuff, you just want to hurt somebody.
I mean, nowadays you turn that over to the authority. What would you do?
I don't know.
I mean, can you do anything?
I just brought it up to my boss. I'm like, this is crazy. Like this, he's like, yeah, there's a lot of crazy situations out there.
Oh my!
See, well, and I had one of those, and I chose to be a little bit more proactive. I went to a.
He turned that around on you. Did you see that?
I chose to be a little bit more proactive.
But I mean that even though she's bedridden, I assume she has the ability to make decisions for herself.
Yep.
And so if she's going to put up with that.
No, there had to be. She's part of the problem, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went in.
Somebody cared for her health enough to knock a hole in there so she wouldn't die of, carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, they don't care about her. They care about their fish.
They got to keep it going.
They got to eat.
Yeah.
But there was this place that I went, and I can't remember what I was delivering. It might have been just like a table or something like that. And this place was disgusting. Like, it was bad. I walked in and it smelled.
Yep.
In my line of work doing that, there wasn't too many places that I went in that were like that.
Because they were buying things.
They were buying new furniture.
Yeah.
And there was just trash on the floor, everything. And then in the middle of that trash was like this newborn baby.
Oh,
and I'm like, there is no way. I was like, that is ridiculous. And my partner that I was riding with, he's like, dude, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I go, well, what do we do? And he's like, hey, I don't know. I was like, so I'm going to report it. I said, I'll let work know that I'm calling it in, but if they tell me no, I'm going to get off work and I'm going to call it in.
Yeah.
And so I did. I called Child Protective Services for that, just to go at least do an inspection.
Yeah. Show up.
Because I was like, that kid's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And so but fortunately I only had really one call like that, among all the disgusting things that I did see.
Oh gosh.
But
I've seen some stuff. Well, there's some houses that you go into and you can see the floor joists because everything else is sagging. And so you're walking on the joists just to get through the house.
Fall through.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But I'll tell you a couple things that I learned. Door-to-door stuff. Yeah, you may be like this or not. But you never know if somebody's doorbell works well.
Right.
So I learned over time by sitting there and ringing a doorbell and actually nothing happening. You just don't know. You just feel like an idiot. You're out there for 5 minutes and you don't. How many times can you ring it before you get you're annoying to some. What to do. So I always, and still to this day, I walk up, I ring the doorbell, and knock right away, and I knock hard. But that's like, hey, ring the doorbell, knock, 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 just in case I didn't know if the doorbell works or not. So that's something that stuck with me. The other thing, this was back, pre-GPS and all this other kind of stuff. So people were giving directions over the phone, like, oh, I got to get a walker delivered to whatever address. Okay, how do we get there? Well, you go down, take a right at the big oak tree, and drive a quarter of a mile, and it'll be a big driveway on the left with a magnolia tree, whatever. Well, never. If they say it's a quarter mile and you've been a half mile, never turn around. Always keep going, because I always found that it's always longer than people think it is when they give their directions. So I'm very reluctant to turn around anytime I'm supposed to go somewhere. I think I should have been there. I always feel that way, but I'm like, nope, I always know, keep going further, because if you turn around now, you're just wasting your time.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a friend telling me he was in North Carolina, I believe it was, and he was getting directions from this lady, Southern lady, and she was saying, yeah, then you go down there and you take a right at the tower, and then you keep going on down. And he got there and he was like, I don't see a tire anywhere. Where's a tire?
It was a tower.
And I looked at him and I said, yeah, she was saying tower. He said, I figured it out eventually.
There was 2 syllables in there.
Right.
You just didn't hear one of them.
Didn't hear it.
Tar.
Yeah.
Tire.
Got to get around that tower. Yeah. Well, I was saying on the directions, because again, I was driving before GPS was even a thing. So I had maps and everything like that. Yeah. And that was pre-delivery. So like the night before, I'd see my deliveries and then I'd line them up and I'd call the customer that night when I got back and I'd be like, hey, we're going to deliver between this time and this time tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And because thankfully, at least cell phones were a thing. They were the Nextel.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I know which one, yeah.
With the walkie-talkies on them.
That was the first one I had from work. Yeah. I hate that sound.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that brings back. If I heard that right now, the hair on the back of my neck would stand up.
Yeah. Oh, I hated it because you knew something was coming that you didn't want to hear.
Those crazy people from GM,
or you got a salesperson like the one that everything's beneath him, calling and saying, "Hey man, I just sold this and they need it delivered today. Can you deliver it today?"
Yeah.
And then I turn into like the Al Bundy, like with the quickness. I'm like, "No, I'm not doing it. I got too much to do today. Can you come back, man? Whatever, and I'll pay you whatever." And
well, you know what you should have told him.
It's beneath me.
Yeah.
No. That's beneath me. That's for tomorrow. But I haven't thought about that in a long time. Just having how I had to do my route and plot addresses and then figure my route. And then we have those out of town deliveries. We'd go out to Western Kansas which is where we went most of the time. I think Eastern Kansas. I don't know where they're getting their stuff at.
Right.
But
Kansas City.
The one place that we had to go was down in Oklahoma. And so we hop in the truck, this is an all day trip now, and so now I'm not getting my commissions, but I don't have to put up with anybody. So they weren't too bad, but we're getting ready to cross the state line and we get pulled over because we went around the toll. And so but that's what the directions told us to do, right? She's like, turn here and you'll avoid the tolls and then turn down this road, whatever. And so we did that, and then I guess the cops saw us and pulled us over and they're like, "What are you hauling back there? Furniture?" Oh, better open it up. So open it up. Yeah, it's furniture. It's not drugs, man.
Right.
Weed furniture.
Hemp furniture with
hemp furniture
with weed. But no, that was
what's that Saturday Night Live's deal? Is pretty. Could you put my weed in there? There was it was Adam Sandler was in that thing.
Was it SNL?
You can put your weed in here.
You can put your weed in here, man.
Yeah. Anyway, it was some store in the mall that had like decorations and stuff. You can put your weed in here.
But so, yeah, that was the only run-in that I had with the law ever when I was driving. Now I've had some sketchy situations with wind on those box trucks.
Oh, wow.
Holy smokes, getting caught in storms and riding on 3 wheels.
Yeah.
I think that was eight wheels on that thing, maybe.
Yeah.
2, 4, 5, 6
Basically
wheels.
a U-Haul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So dually in the back.
Yeah.
And
that'll be 6 wheels.
6. Yeah. Just like a regular dually truck.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look back and think.
Yeah.
But no, those are fun times. And I was actually reminded of that 2 weekends ago, my delivery driving days, because I went and I bought a bed, and this is only the second time that I've purchased a bed, other than when I worked there. I purchased the frame because people would get these mattresses, and they'd be like top of the line mattresses that these people would buy, but they'd get into it and then a stitch would start popping apart.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, they want to return it. And I'd be like, yeah, I mean, yes, it's under warranty. Let's return it. The store couldn't,
because they can't take it back and sell it.
The store can't take it back.
Yeah.
So I knew where the mattress came from. I'm like, oh, this is a really clean house. Like, this mattress is coming home. And so, I mean, I'd throw the mattress in the back, and we had all the cleaning supplies at the shop to
clean them up.
Clean all that off. So I'd clean them up, bring it home. And I think I ended up, they used to have, if you've ever seen it, it's a hybrid water bed. So they actually had the water mattress inside like a pillow top shop.
No, I did not know that existed. I had a water bed growing up though.
I never had.
I did as well until this came out, and I was like, this is so much better. Until the heating element goes out in the winter. That's cold.
Okay, in Louisiana still works.
In Louisiana.
But I had to get rid of it when I got too tall, because it's like the wooden box that you're in, and my feet, it hurts. It hurts. It's not hanging off the edge. It's like propped up on top of a 2x4.
But so I was reminded of that. Those delivery driving days.
Setting up your mat. You didn't eat your bed.
My bed. So this time I'm on the buying end of it.
Did you have it delivered?
No. So I guess let me back up. Number one, I didn't know beds had gotten as expensive as they are. Like when I was
They're crazy expensive.
When I was selling them, they were not that much. And so we went in and we're you know, my wife and I were testing beds out and traveled enough places that I know what I was looking for. And so we get in and we're testing these out, and we came to the agreed upon mattress. We're like, yeah, this is the one that's closest to what we slept on. And
so you guys went around laying down on beds in the mattress store?
Yeah,
that's awkward. I've done it.
It's awkward. Number one.
I think we've all done it, but it is strange.
You know, the sales lady, bless her soul, was super accommodating, and was like, you know, well, this mattress right here, you know, this is the one that Tom Brady advertises. This is the one he really likes. And I was like, really?
Tom Brady advertises for mattresses?
Apparently.
And so I was like, well, if he's been beat up as much as he has, I mean, I'm probably about as beat up as he is, so might be comfortable for me. So we're sitting on this bed, checking it out. And then she's like, yeah, and this one's got the adjustable base underneath it. And we'd stayed at an Airbnb with an adjustable base.
Is that the...
Yeah, the one where the foot, you can bring the feet up and bring the head portion up.
Yeah, we have an adjustable bed.
You could just put any mattress on that?
Not just any. It has to be individually pocketed coils or
foam.
Ours
is foam.
So individually pocketed coils, but you can't have the one.
You can't have a normal mattress.
No, you cannot.
Well, if it's got individually,
that's not normal.
That's normal now.
Not for me.
Yeah, that's true, because I did buy one for hunting camp that's not individually pocketed, and it's very bouncy. It makes certain things a lot easier. You know what I'm the memory foam just let's just say there's a lot of energy that goes into memory foam. You're not getting the return that you're putting in, I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So anyway,
next
that escalated quickly.
with those thoughts in mind,
I was going to ask you a question about your foam mattress, but I am not going to ask you a question now. We're just going to kind of move on as quickly as possible. You have an adjustable base.
Yes. So that adjustable base, we're sitting there testing this thing out, and the sales lady goes, hey, yeah, this one has a massage function as well. I'm like, what? And so automatically I'm brought back to
the motel days.
The motel days, you know, when I was poor and had to stay in seedy motels to, you know, get home or whatever, and they had the little 25-cent magic fingers massage thing on there, you know, and I never once turned one of those on.
Book the room by the hour. Those kind of
motels. Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna be here till 8 a.m. But so I was like, it's got what? Yeah, it's got a massage function. I was like, all right, so. Here we are, my wife and I, sitting on this bed with our sales lady, you know, just looking directly at us, and this bed's just going, boo. I'm like, this is really awkward. But I was like, hey, you know what? It does feel kind of good on my back. And so I'm looking at my wife. I was like, well, how much is this little upgrade here? She's like, oh, I think it's $200. And I was like,
worth it.
For $200, why not? We're
here.
We're already spending $1 million on a mattress. What's $200?
How many quarters is that?
Yeah,
$200.
It's a lot, but you pay for it up front so you can use it for life, right?
Right.
So test it out, whatever. Well, we've got to order the mattress in. It won't be in for 3 weeks or something like that. And then we ordered pillows and, you know,
all the stuff.
Yeah, mattress protector and stuff like that, and all that'll be in, you know, here in 3 weeks. But the base,
it's in stock,
was at the warehouse, and I was like, all right, I'll go to the warehouse, I'll pick it up. She's, are you sure? I was like, yeah. Well, how much?
I know how to pick up furniture from a warehouse.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't bring up. I used to do this for a living.
Yeah,
you know, and I didn't say this is beneath me because I'm going to go deliver my own furniture. Right, I'm going to do what I can. And I was like, how much does it weigh? And she goes, oh, probably 7,500 pounds. I was like, oh, that one would be too big.
You handle that.
No, not a big deal at all. So I get to the warehouse and I see this guy tip it over on the truck, and my truck squats, and then he picks it up, and I mean, basically just chest press this thing into the back of my truck. And I hear this dude. And then I look on the side of the box. It's like 250 pounds. And I'm like, well, now we might have some issues. Because the combination of my wife and I trying to move that in with my wife's bum knee and my bum knees. or no knees, I guess, for the matter of fact.
Well, one of them you have is pretty expensive. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, technically that one should hold it. I'm worried about my anatomical knee and busting that out and having to have surgery on it. But so I get it home and we open up the box and we take everything out and just take it in piece by piece, which wasn't too bad at all. But this thing was literally the easiest bed frame that I've ever put together. It was literally 4 bolts with a couple of spacers, plug everything into this little thing, and come to find out it's even got a under the bed light, so you can hit the light and it lights up what's under your bed. So
wow,
it's pretty neat.
Well, I mean, it's plugged in already.
Man,
so
mine
as well.
Mine doesn't have a light. I'm kind of jealous.
Does yours have a massage function?
No, I didn't upgrade.
So if you choose to, here's what I would recommend. Before you set that thing on the floor, get some spacers, get some carpet spacers or something like that.
Remnant to put under the legs?
Yeah, under the legs. Because when I sat in bed after I got this all together and I'm trying to find out which position I want to watch TV in, okay, which position do I want for my midnight snack? And so I get all that set and I was like, let's try this massage function out. So I hit that thing. Well, I didn't realize that it had levels of intensity and different variations, right? So I turn this thing on and if I'm lying, I'm dying. When I turn that thing up full power, have you ever been on that airplane and that moment right before it gets airborne and that whole plane is rattling and everything's going and the luggage up top.
Occasionally one of the doors
pops open. Yeah. I mean, luggage is falling out. That's what it felt like. And that's what it sounded like. And I was like, there is no way on God's green earth I'm turning that on when we have company, because they're going to think the absolute worst is going on in that room. I was like, that's going to be an awkward breakfast conversation when they say, what was that noise for like 4 hours last night?
Oh my gosh.
Just say stamina.
Yeah. It's like, have you ever flown?
That's those individually pocketed coils. It ain't that memory foam. You have a heart attack that long on memory foam.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that when I brought up delivery driving that this was going to go there.
Wow. I'm glad you did.
So anyway, come to find out, I think it was a combination of the wood floors. And then I'm kind of redneckish and I've got a gun build table at the end of my bed instead of like any bedroom furniture. Mm-hmm. I have a table with a vise where I build guns, and then I've got a gun safe like right here, and my wife puts up with it. And the metal bar that holds your mattress on when it goes into an inclined position to keep from sliding off, that was actually hitting the wood on my metal table, and that was that because it was just vibrating everything. So I think once I get some
proper spacing,
some carpet pads under there, and get those get the table away from the end of the bed there, I think we'll be all right. But yeah, it was loud, and it made my daughter blush when she came in. She's like, "This is just too weird, Dad.
I don't need to hear about this.
This is too weird, Dad." And I was like, "All right, yep."
Well, that metal thing that holds your mattress in, ours pops right out.
Yeah, so does ours.
Yeah. So if you're not inclined, I guess you could.
Well, he doesn't want to take that out because he's got a midnight snack position that he needs to get into later.
True. But if he wants to just massage and not rattle the furniture, you could just
move the furniture away from the bed.
That's the easiest solution.
You need like they have on those big excavators where they're putting the poles out with the ribbon tape around it so you don't walk into the thing. That's what you need to put around your bed now.
Put some curb feelers on the bed. Yeah. But that was
wow.
It was an interesting experience.
Thank you for that, Matt. I really, really appreciate your candor.
The best was, so I actually wrote about this on Facebook, and my mother-in-law.
Well, I saw you shared the picture was the quarter
magic fingers.
Yep.
Yeah. And my mother-in-law commented, and she was like, LOL, looking for more stories to come. And I was like,
nope.
I was like, your daughter just saw this and started blushing when she saw your comment. And I was like, I got you.
No more stories coming from.
You should say, I'll save those for the Thanksgiving table.
No, now she's going to listen to this and she's going to know why we have individually pocketed coils instead of. You're welcome.
It brought you 2 beautiful granddaughters along the way there.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law.
Yep, and yeah, those were on individual.
Okay, that's enough there, Matt. Let's move on. I think we have a commercial break that we need to take.
Let's take a break real quick. Whew.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
You're like a pro.
And we're back.
Oh, yeah.
We're back.
I got it covered. I think I'm hosting this show anyway. I was
You are
taking a break to take a sip of my sweet tea.
He's addicted to that stuff.
Oh, man, I am. So moving on to our top three. And today we have our top three seasonings. Chet, why don't you start us off with your top three favorite seasonings?
All right. Here we go. You guys probably never heard of this. The Reluctant Trading. This the brand. They're tellicherry black whole peppercorns. Divakar's number 4.
No.
Never heard of it.
It's fantastic.
What do you use it on?
It's pepper.
Oh, it's just
It's
It's
pepper.
not just pepper.
All of that to say it's pepper.
not just
It's not just pepper.
black
it is
pepper.
The best pepper that you will ever have.
Well, I need to get some
I'll
because
just say
my wife loves pepper.
it is so aromatic, fantastic. And the Reluctant Trading Company is actually started because the Reluctant Trading Experiment. There's this guy that was in textiles. Okay. There's this guy in textiles.
It's finally you, though.
And he was working with Divakar, and Divakar was like, "Hey, you got to get some of these black tellicherry peppers." What is wrong with you guys? I don't even know. I'm gonna keep powering through here. But anyway, the guy's like, I don't want to trade in peppers, so he reluctantly started doing that, and the original tellicherry peppers are fantastic.
I can't wait to try.
Pepper. Who would have thought pepper? Pepper was the thing. Pepper was
I wasn't
the
going to
thing.
get that down. I was going to choke.
Any other questions?
I don't know what he's laughing at, but his shirt is so tight. It's so tight. I just kept thinking Santa Claus because that's jiggling like a bowl full of jelly over there.
Oh,
So anyway,
your hair's
you're
Sticking up?
in the back.
Oh, okay.
Just caught me off guard.
It's like Ed Grimley?
Yeah. Yeah.
like alfalfa.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah, look just like alfalfa.
I'm so.
That's
It's good to know that you're still amused by hair sticking up.
I was
definitely
intently-
wasn't.
Yeah.
I was really paying attention to you to hear about this pepper, and then I noticed
Yeah.
your hair, and I just lost it.
Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, Reluctant Trading, they're tellicherry black whole peppercorns, and they ship them to you whole. You have to have a
Grinder.
Grinder.
Do you have a special grinder?
No, I just have grinders. We have a couple of them. I have some with the handle on top, and I have others that you twist.
I have found. So I've recently upgraded my pepper, and of course it's not that upgraded. It's just the simple McCormick's, but it's the whole peppercorns.
Yeah.
Where you can select the size of your grind
And so you notice a step up, like, you know.
there's a definite difference between the ground pepper.
So where you are right now, exponentially more of a step up versus where you the step that you came up.
I'll have to try it. You have to let me try it.
It's fantastic. Second one, number 2, Cattleman's Grill, California Tri-Tip. I get this at All Things BBQ. It's a fantastic all-around seasoning for meat primarily, but it's got just the right amount of heat to it as well. Just love it. Steaks, I actually put, when I smoke like pork and brisket, I'll supplement my normal barbecue rubs, smoking rubs, and I'll put a little bit of this on there, and it actually brings up little bit more flavor, a little bit more heat.
I will say that is the one thing maybe that you do well was the pork butt.
One thing?
Yeah.
The one thing.
The one thing.
The one thing.
Because you brought that out when we went hunting last year.
Yeah.
That stuff was good. And then I remember buying that with you, or you bought it when we went and visited All Things Barbecue.
Yep. Yeah, I have to upgrade. I used to just buy the smaller containers, and then now I get the bigger ones. It's really good. Cattleman's grill has some pretty good other seasonings too, but that tri-tips, one of my California tri-tips, big. It's the only thing that I buy with California in the title, so you know it has to be good. Number one,
raisins.
Sun-Maid doesn't have California in there.
He said that's the only thing he buys with California in the name. So he would not buy California raisins.
No, I buy Sun-Maid raisins. They're from California, but it's not California raisins, isn't it? In the
not
title.
In the name.
It was a commercial back when you were in diapers.
Probably.
Yeah. Heard it through the grapevine, man.
I was in middle school.
Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning is number one. Fight me if you don't agree. That's number one.
It's pretty good.
We use it as salt in our house.
Yep.
It takes it does take it's so all around. It can be used on
everything.
We I use it on eggs.
We steam broccoli.
Oh yeah.
That's what goes on the broccoli. Like it's we use it on, it's like salt.
I put it in chili.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes a little too much because sometimes the salt content in some of those varies from one bottle to the next.
Yeah.
I have noticed that, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Troy, fire away, man.
All right, number 3, garlic powder. It is my basic lay down powder on almost any meat that I use or that I cook with. Sprinkle a little garlic powder.
Why not garlic salt?
Because I usually add salt to either to the meal when I'm eating it.
Yeah.
Or if I do add salt, I want to be able to control the consistency from garlic to garlic salt. I feel
that's
like
something you had in your house too, wasn't it?
What?
Garlic powder.
I always have it in my house.
No, like growing up.
Oh, probably.
Because Ashley's the same way. I'm like, I grew up in a garlic salt house. You guys are apparently a garlic powder house.
Yeah. Well, we had both, and I still have both. Sometimes I'll use garlic salt, but for the most part, I'll do powder.
Yeah.
And then if I want salt, I'll add a little of that rock salt to it.
I got you.
Matt's taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, lemon pepper.
Yeah.
Classic.
I use lemon pepper on mostly chicken.
Yep.
And hamburgers.
Hamburgers?
Yeah. A little trick from my grandfather. He used it on all his hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
Saw my dad using it on hamburgers. Just have always used it.
So I have to tell you a little story about lemon pepper. That I'm a lemon pepper fan, especially with chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we always have at the deer camp. And we have this little metal. It's actually it was a tote made to store tea that my parents brought back from Japan, and that's what we use to keep all of our kitchen stuff in at the deer camp because you don't have to worry about mice or anything getting into it. And had some lemon pepper in there that went rancid. And Tim was like, dude, I'm like, what? He's texting. I hate lemon pepper now. I'm like, why? He's like, I just opened that. The whole cabin stunk, and I opened it up, and it hit me in the face. I'll never, if I smell lemon pepper from here on out, I'm gagging. Because he had to clean everything out of the whole deal, and he hates lemon pepper now because it could go bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I don't get to have lemon pepper at the deer camp. It's been banned. No more lemon pepper.
That's all right. You don't need lemon pepper in camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number 1, Tony Chachere Creole seasoning.
There you go, man.
Extra spice.
Oh, you don't just get the normal.
Well, we have the normal.
Yeah.
For those that like less spice.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes with more of a red label.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's either extra.
Did you find that here now?
Is it more spice or extra spice?
I think it's more spice.
Yeah, I think it is more spice. Yeah, I got the bottle I got it here. It's a little one.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
and it probably costs like $7.
Probably.
When it's like 39 cents in Louisiana.
right. But yeah, I use that on, gosh, almost everything.
I did talk to Walmart about Tony Chachere's and carrying it up here, and they started carrying it. I think I get the credit.
I will give you credit.
Yeah. Way back when. That was the two things that we always had to bring up was community coffee and Tony's whenever we went.
Well, you
back
still
home.
have to bring up community coffee, like the
if you
other
want
flavors.
Yeah, other than the Americana blend or whatever it is.
Well, they have the breakfast blend here and the Americana basic blend, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know that or not, but if your local Walmart doesn't carry something that, to our listeners out there, if they don't carry something that you want, I've had pretty good success in getting them to carry things that they normally didn't carry. So email them.
All right. Matt?
We ready?
We're ready.
All right. I've got to rearrange some things here.
Hey.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, we agree on the number one.
Hey, look at
Hey.
that. All right.
Troy's getting smarter.
Imagine that.
Chet is getting dumber.
So
We're going to meet in the middle.
I'm gonna start with my number one.
And Matt's going to change his number one so he doesn't align with us.
That's right.
Number one, Tony Chachere's Creole.
No way.
Hey, all right. All the way around.
That was my original number one. I just wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way.
Which goes by Tony's in our house. I don't know if that's what you call it. It's just Tony's.
Yeah, that's what we call it too. Yeah. Can I get some Tony's with that?
Give me that Tony's.
Hey.
Chachere's.
Chachere's.
Cheers.
And like I said, I use it on
Everything. Yeah.
Eggs. I mean, I'll put some jalapenos, chop those up in the eggs, put in some
Tony's.
and or like I said, it goes in my chili. Burgers, it doesn't matter. I put it on literally everything.
Dude, just rice. A little butter.
Plain rice.
Tony's.
Yeah.
Ramen noodles.
I don't eat ramen anymore, but
when you did,
it would have been good back then.
Yeah.
So I'm going to that would be into my number one, but I'm going to caveat that by saying 1A or 1B is going to be Farmer's Daughter garlic scape salt. And the only place that I know of that you can get this is, I believe it's Cuttawa. I believe is where she sells that up in Canada. And you can get it online now. She upgraded, so now you can buy this stuff online. And you got to remember when you go to buy it, it's in Canadian dollars, CAD, instead of US dollars. So when you see like $9 for this or $10 or whatever it is now for that, hey, it's going to be right around $8.50 US. But what she does is she grows the garlic and then cuts the scapes, which is the top of the garlic, that little green part, cuts that off, dries it, and then roasts it, and then
mixes that with salt.
Mixes that with like a sea salt type of deal, and it now that also goes on everything. So I'm putting that on burgers. I put it on chicken. I put it on whatever. And if you like garlic, this is a kick in the pants type of really good man. Roasted garlic.
I do. I love garlic.
And like I said, Farmer's Daughter, and it's Dotter because that's their last name, Daughter. But she just started selling that on like a little stand, like we have fruit stands or whatever here. Yeah. They have their little fruit stands on the side of the highway, and that's where she started selling. Now she's online, and I don't know how she makes enough to keep up, because everybody that I've introduced it to now buys that stuff like wholesale. Wow. I mean, they're going and buying a ton of it. So that would be number 1B. My number 2 is from a shirt that I've actually worn on this show a couple times, Burn Pit Barbecue. And it was one of the Marines I served with that started this company, Burn Pit Barbecue. And they have another garlic-based seasoning, and they just call it ground pounder. But it's basically just an all-purpose garlic. And I've actually they just started the company. So the first bottle that I bought I used for our Thanksgiving turkey, and it's the only thing I used. So I melted a bunch of butter.
Yeah.
Put that seasoning on the butter, mixed it up, and then basted the turkey with it.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal flavor.
Yeah.
Great flavor. Excuse me. And then my number 3 is going to be the Bearded Butcher's original blend of seasoning. Again, more garlic. I like my garlic. What can I say? But it's sea salt. It's got some spices in there.
I'm anxious to try that because I really like them.
It's really, really they know their stuff and they do it really, really well.
Yeah.
And
have you know the Bearded Butchers?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I just high quality. Everything they do seems to be quality. So I imagine their seasonings. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's really good. And they even on their YouTube stuff, where they're using just their seasonings, because they did a summer sausage tutorial, and that's where I actually learned to do the summer sausage and started making it their way, and their way is way better than the way I was doing it before, and turns out a much better product. And so I haven't actually used theirs on because they actually recommend this for summer sausage, and they say just throw this in there and just be just fine.
Yeah.
Or brats. It's really, really good with brats. If you're gonna mix the meat and do your own casings, just put some of the seasoning in there and make your brats. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, that's my number 3. They do quality stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that don't know, you could just, YouTube Bearded Butchers, but that is, I think number 1 from an instructional perspective is Chef Tom at All Things BBQ on YouTube. And just instructional on smoking and all that kind of stuff.
He's got some great content out there.
But then I think for me, Bearded Butchers is right in behind that. And they don't just do like cooking stuff at Bearded Butchers. Or they show you how to break down animals and process deer and just some great guys there. They're in Ohio, but you could YouTube Bearded Butchers and find all their stuff.
Yeah, and they're fun to watch.
This is just great content.
Yeah, extremely informative. I mean, they're very professional about how they do things. It's been a family business for a long time. I think even back to I don't know if it's their grandfather or just their dad, but they do a really good job, and that's what made me want to try their.
It's really educational too.
Yeah,
they spend a lot of time telling people how to do things,
showing you how to make a tomahawk steak.
Yeah,
who knew?
Nice.
Who knew? But that's my number 3.
All right, man.
Very good.
Tony's for the win.
Tony's for the win.
Tony's for the win all the way around.
Yeah. If you've never had it, go find some.
Yeah, made in Opelousas, Louisiana.
Yep. Good stuff.
I'm gonna have to find the extra spice bottle because I think the Tony's extra spice I can handle, whereas some of that extra spice stuff is just
Tony's isn't even the normal stuff. Just isn't even spicy to me.
No.
Me either. It's
flavorful,
just good flavor. That extra or the more spice just turns the heat up just a touch. I mean, it's not a lot.
See, and what I normally do, like if I'm making Creole and I'm using Tony's in the Creole, I would typically add like jalapeno juice or actual jalapenos to kick it up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm anxious to see how much that would change the flavor profile.
Man, speaking of changing flavor profiles, I made some, actually, Ashley made some adobo roasted pork with chipotle peppers the other day. We make that into tacos, and Hatch chilies from New Mexico are in. Yep. So I bought a few of those, and I roasted a couple of those peppers on the open fire, and then sliced them up, put them on my taco. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic.
When I retired,
just enough to make your nose run too, from a heat perspective.
Well, when I retired from the Marine Corps and I was coming back, we were going through the South.
Yeah.
Hatch chilies were in season.
Yeah.
And I picked up, like down there, like buying them here, you're buying, your little grocery bag, and filling those up, whatever.
Yeah.
I bought like a burlap sack, like 50, I had like a 50-pound bag of Hatch chilies.
Yeah.
And brought them back. And
that's awesome.
I'm going to say that 30 pounds of them probably went bad before I got them actually frozen because of the drive and then trying to get them. But
I need Stone makes that salsa. He uses serranos in his salsa. I bet I want him to make some with some Hatch and see what those comes out.
We actually just did that this weekend.
Yeah.
Made my wife did anyway, made a bunch of salsa. We got a hold of the coveted Mama Salsa recipe.
Oh yeah,
that you had, because she never shares that.
Yeah,
and I don't know if any other family is listening. We should probably edit
you
this.
don't have it. You burned it.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Yeah,
but we ended up making it because she's had some medical issues over the last couple of weeks and hasn't been able to do all the stuff with the garden, and she uses garden salsa peppers.
Oh, okay.
And unbeknown to my wife, the ingredients that we got were the instructions that we got were for a full batch. The ingredients that we got as far as peppers were for a full batch, but the tomatoes that we had were for a half batch, and she used all the peppers.
Oh,
so I tried it right after it was done.
Yeah.
And cooled down and tried some. I was like, this
got a little heat.
I was like, this is pretty spicy.
While you're making it, you can normally tell, like, oh, this is going to be a little bit different. Yeah.
And then she goes, well, now you got to be careful. She goes, because after you can it and it sits, it gets way hotter.
Yeah.
I might be giving a bunch of this stuff
I'll take it.
I'll take it too. I'll try.
I don't know about actually giving it away, but
might have to crawfish on that offer.
Add some cheese or something like that in there. But
that's
what we were doing. So yeah. Anyway, moving on to a good word, Troy.
All right.
What's the good
word of the day is fear. Fear. And not just any fear, the fear of the Lord. So Proverbs 1:7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. And I wrestled with this verse for a while in my past because I didn't really understand what the fear of the Lord meant. And I heard Tim Keller talking about it, and he has a way of just explaining biblical truth to a way that I can understand it, to a way a lot of people can understand it. And he said the fear of the Lord is not being afraid of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is having an awe-inspiring reverence of the Lord, that you would do nothing to disappoint or to sin against or anything to this person, to God, because you have this awe-inspiring reverence for him. And so that just kind of, when I heard that, I was like, okay, now I understand it. Because I always knew like it wasn't a fear of, I should be afraid. I just didn't know how to put it to words. And Tim Keller did that for me. And so I wanted to share that on the podcast today. And also share Psalms 130, verse 4. But with you there is forgiveness, that you may be feared. And so through that awe-inspiring reverence, there is forgiveness for the things that we do from this God that is awe-inspiring, that we should have the fear of the Lord in. So yeah, the word of the day is fear.
Yeah, we're actually going through First Peter in my Sunday school class, and we came across this a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago now. In 1 Peter 1:17, since you call on a Father who judges each person's work impartially, live out your time as foreigners here in reverent fear, for you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver or gold that you were redeemed from the empty way of life. It's like out of just massive respect,
right,
and acknowledgement of who he is.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah. So that's it. Fear of the Lord.
I dig it.
Can you dig it?
I dig it.
All right.
I was going to say, it's kind of like that fear you have, or some people have for their parents as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost kind of not the same, but the same in kind of that respect where you don't want to let them down, not because you fear.
Not because you fear punishment, but because you fear
letting them down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or punishment.
Or punishment.
So, like, a good story of the fear of my dad. I growing up, going to church, I sat with him until I got in the quote unquote youth group, right? And then I could go sit with the youth. Well, growing up, we sat like towards the front right of the church, and then the youth sat in the middle left. So I was just thinking, well, hey, when I go sit with the youth, I'm going to sit in the middle left, and my parents are going to be sitting in the front right. Well, first Sunday, I sit with the youth. Guess where my parents are sitting?
Right behind you.
Yeah, back left. And so then it was like, if I do anything wrong, somebody's going to see it. It's noticeable that he's there. His presence is there. And over time, I got a little, forgetful that where my dad was. And I was cutting up one Sunday, and he had snuck up and sat directly behind us, like directly behind where I was, and like observed, I don't know, note passing, who knows, everything. I thought I was getting pretty good at being disruptive below the back of the pew.
Right. Yeah.
I'm still up top, but I'm, doing some stuff. And so I wasn't reverent towards my dad. And he did one of those, the thump.
Back of the ear?
Back of the head.
Back of the head.
Oh, wow.
Left and not. It was audible. Like, people are like, what was that? And
Chief Sears handling
I know I didn't have a mirror, but I know I immediately turned beet red. Like, just red faced and thinking I'm going to be murdered when I get home. And I just got a stern talking to.
Yeah.
But yeah. I had no reverent fear of my father when I started goofing off a little bit too much. But then it was like, from that point forward, oh yeah, my dad's behind me. I respect him. I want to follow his rules. I don't want to let him down. I know he's watching.
Keep that note away from me.
Yeah, it's like, no, I would not like any gum.
That's beneath me.
There's the tie-in.
All right. Why don't you take us on out of here, Matt?
That I can do.
Thank you, sir. Oh, he doesn't do the closeout.
Nope.
Thank you for listening to Hardheaded Podcast. Hardheaded. We really do appreciate you spending your time with us today. If you don't mind, whatever platform you're listening or watching on, hit that like button. Hit the bell, notifications whenever we drop a new episode, which is every week.
Rate and review. Did you say that? Because that is huge.
I didn't say it. Write and review. It's huge.
Rate and review.
Huge. Rate and write a review.
There you go.
It's huge.
Drop us a note if you would like Troy to wear a larger t-shirt on the next podcast.
Hey, that hit right at the drop. Drop us a note. We made it.
I'm glad my t-shirt could help out with the drop there.
Oh, that thing was moving, boy.
Your hair, I just looked up at you. I couldn't stop laughing.